I am joined today by Dr. Fatih Birol, Executive Director of the IEA, Mr. Dan Jorgensen, Minister of Climate and Energy and Utilities of Denmark, and Mr. Kim Pausing, CEO of Danfoss. Our press conference will start with remarks from Dr. Birol, continue with Minister Jorgensen and Mr. Kim Pausing, and then we will have a time for a Q&A session. During the Q&A, we will take questions in threes. Please make sure to state your name and your media organization while addressing your questions to the speakers. The total time of this press conference will be 40 minutes. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Birol.
So, many thanks. I think you were all in the first part of this wonderful meeting, the conference. I already highlighted a few things, but just to maybe one or two summaries of what I tried to say. The world is facing an energy and climate crisis at the same time, and the governments around the world are trying to address both of them by using different energy policy options, ranging from, in some cases, increasing the production of oil and gas, renewables, LNG, and they are all helpful to address both of these challenges. But energy efficiency, we believe, is a policy option which can be immediately implemented with very strong and quick returns. And I am very happy to see that there is a growing recognition of energy efficiency, and it is critical importance to address both the energy crisis, climate crisis, and at the same time being a part of the solution of the economic challenges the countries are facing. I am thankful to Danish government as well as to Danfoss enabling about 25 ministers around the world, and the participants, more than 60 countries coming here today. And the interest we are seeing is an evidence of the great recognition of the role that the energy efficiency can play. And once again, I want to finish by saying that as of today, if you agree, Mr. Minister, as the representative of the Danish government, I am recognizing Sonderborg as the global capital of energy efficiency. So I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Well,
Birol.
thank you so much, Fatih. Energy efficiency capital of the world. We definitely won't object to that. I don't know if there's any such title as honorary mayor, but if there is, you can be the honorary mayor of the energy efficiency capital of the world. Thank you so much for having the conference here in Sønderborg in Denmark. We are a country that aims to be a world leader when it comes to the green transition. A lot of people around the world acknowledge and feel inspired by our efforts on energy transformation and on our deployment of renewable energy. But very often the demand side is forgotten in this story. So we look at the supply side, which is important, but we also need to look at the demand side. And the main argument for the Danish government here today is that energy efficiency is just as important for our green transformation as renewable energy is. You can't have one without the other if you are to move towards a carbon neutral society, which we want. Now, some people might say, well, that's all very well, but you are a very small country and you're only responsible for 0.1% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions, so how will this help the climate? And by the way, you are only responsible for a very small percentage of the energy consumption and the gas consumption in Europe, so how will this help us in a European context getting independent of Russian oil and gas? But our philosophy is that even if you are a small country, you can actually make a big difference. First, you can hope to inspire. If you show by example that you can do this transformation, not in a way that will hurt your competitiveness, not in a way that will make your society less equal, but actually the opposite. In a way that will create jobs, create growth, and maintain the equity and equality of your society. If we do that, then hopefully other countries might also say, well, if Denmark can do it, then maybe we can also do it. Now, with regards to the technical solutions that we then develop when we set ourselves very ambitious targets and have a pretty strict regulation, and also pay the subsidies that we've allocated through the years, it's clear that if we don't have the companies like Danfoss, like others, that are actually willing to and able to developing the solutions and exporting them to other countries, then we wouldn't make much of a difference. So I'm so proud to be here with Danfoss, and so proud that we have many companies in Denmark that do exactly that. As a government, we also have 19 bilateral collaborations with governments all over the world, where we share experiences on energy efficiency, on the deployment of renewables. Having said all of this, we also have a lot to learn. We are far from where we need to be, and I look forward to finding inspiration and getting good examples from many other countries in the next couple of days. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Jorgensen. Mr. Fausing, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So yes, I think you have also heard our story here once, but let me just highlight here very shortly just a couple of things again, just to emphasize. I think today it was already quite clear why energy efficiency is such an important cornerstone in decarbonizing. I also think that was clear already, but now looking at the research that IEA again have posted here, it's very, very clear that it has an enormous impact. And I think it's you get very excited when you see that. And I think if there's a time, you know, we always say an idea is good, but the timing, if that's perfect as well, then it comes all together. And I think the way we see it is the timing to have this discussion, which we have today and these days, are fantastic in terms of creating a very big impact. And energy efficiency is the short-term best and most powerful solution. It's also clear, like we see it, it goes hand in hand. It's two twins when we talk about renewables and building up renewables at a high speed and with high focus together with getting more efficient. There is, of course, also a little bit of a sensible idea in not building capacity for something we don't need, obviously, in this, that we should also not forget in the financial equation that we have here. So our role in here, if we talk about in Denmark or in Sønderborg, or as a company, has been to get involved, to help to open the doors and show the way. So we have climate partnerships in Denmark. We are involved in that together with the ministry to show the way in certain sectors. Sønderborg, it's seeing is believing. We can show how actually to do the steps in a coordinated and a cooperative manner, and by doing so, we can actually achieve quite astonishing targets. It's not magic. It's like always. It's a plan. And it's cooperation. It's a lot of follow-up and hard work around it. By doing all these things with a lot of passion, and then we can succeed. And that's why we are a little bit emotional here today, because it's been in our legacy of the company since we were founded to drive decarbonization or energy efficiency as a company. So I think it stands very clear that our role here is to help to inspire, to show some of the solutions that is available out there right now, today, to be implemented with quite powerful impacts. And I gave you already some few highlights and examples here earlier on. So let's work really close together across the private-public side. By doing so, we can take the magic out of this and get the excitement into energy efficiency. And our hope with that is, of course, that we could order renewables and energy efficiency as the two twins, equally important, some with high impact short term, some with high impact mid to long term. Already, for example, in countries like Denmark with a very high impact right on renewables. So with that, I think I will pass it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fausing. So now we will start the Q&A session. Please raise your hands to address your questions to our speakers. And I see 2 questions in the front row here, please. And now we can take one from right behind.
Thank you. Nuran Erkul, Anadolu Agency, Turkey. My question is for Dr. Birol. At the IEA, you have announced 2 10-point plans to cut oil and gas use in the recent months. Do you see any fall in demand or any clue that the tendency is going towards this direction per data you gather from the countries? Another second one, in your opinion, which measures are the easiest to adopt and can be implemented among other countries? Thanks.
Yes. So I think there was another question right there. Thank you.
I can ask you. I'm from Ukraine. Dmytro Litvinenko, STB channel. It's all national Ukraine, one of the biggest TV channels, and my questions are linked with Ukraine. So for Mr. Jorgensen, what do you feel when Russia said that don't sell for Denmark their gas? Do you feel satisfied that, you know, early action gives you this privilege to do what you want without any Russian pressure? What we don't see, for example, in Germany, they are under the pressure. So what you feel in this moment, if you was satisfied in this moment? And also the question about the restoration of Ukraine. I know that our president asked for help of Denmark in restoration of big seaport Mykolaiv. If it's possible to use this technology in this restoration, because they are not very cheap, we understand it. And Ukraine after war will not be the richest country in the world, I understand this. So how we can do it, you know, in the right way, you know, in the cheapest way with the help of Denmark and Danfoss, for example. Thanks.
Thank you. We can maybe take one more question from there, from Cecilia Keating over there.
I'm from Business Green. My question's to Dr. Birol. I understand that neither the UK nor Egyptian ministers have made it here despite being billed. So I kind of just wanted to ask, what do you think that sends that neither the incumbent COP presidency nor the forthcoming one are represented here today to discuss this important issue? And do you think it's a sign that energy efficiency could be sidelined in sort of future crucial high-profile discussions about climate?
Thank you. So, Dr. Birol, would you like to start?
Yeah, I can start briefly. The first question are 10-point plans. So I'm very happy to see that at least to our account, 5 countries have taken a few of our suggestions. Some of them are the speed limits. Some of them are taking measures for the every second day cars goes to traffic, and for example, one country, Belgium, they have decided to postpone of closing down of their nuclear power plants by 10 years. So we are very happy to see that they are going to make an impact, but I believe they be much more useful when the governments feel the heat of the problem for oil towards summer months and for natural gas towards winter months. And I think we are so happy that the governments are paying attention to those, and we are, together with the European Commission, organizing with 17 EU countries different seminars, workshops on each of these points we suggested how they could be implemented. For the other question, energy efficiency, and if there is a lack of interest from Egypt or UK, I think we have the Secretary of State of from UK is with us today or tomorrow. And I should tell you that last week when I was in London, both with Minister Kwarteng and in Davos with the Alok Sharma, had good discussions, and I feel that the energy efficiency is an important issue for them. And also with the Tariq al-Molla, the Egyptian minister, we have discussed the energy efficiency as an important tool to address the challenges we have. But in my view, if the co-presidencies in Egypt and following in Abu Dhabi do not take the energy efficiency as one of the, if not the most important area to address the challenges they are facing, they will be missing a great opportunity, in my view, because in both of those regions, in North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, as well as in Middle East, there is a huge potential to improve the energy efficiency. Then.
Thank you, Dr. Birol. Minister Jorgensen.
Yes, so to the question about how I felt when Russia decided to close the gas deliveries to Denmark. Well, we think it's an unfair and it's an unjust decision. Having said that, though, my feelings towards that decision really are so small compared to what I feel towards the aggression that Russia has put on your country. So it almost doesn't really make sense to talk about the difference that it makes for Denmark. We are eager to help Ukraine as much as we can. And to your question about what will happen after the war, you can rest assured that Denmark will be there as a friend, and we will help as much as we can on as many areas as we can. And although, of course, it's too early to go into specifics now, we are definitely also looking into whether or not energy infrastructure, energy efficiency can be a part of that package. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Minister Jorgensen. We can take another round of questions. I see some on the right side of the room there. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Cezara Scutari, Romanian Television DG24. I have two questions. First of all, what is the supply of gas in Denmark nowadays, and how much it will supply Denmark, the citizens? And the second, how can you develop taking energy from the North Sea, and is there the possibility to develop as well at the Black Sea as you see it now?
Thank you. Gentlemen.
Dragan Nikolic, Croatian National TV. Two questions for Minister Jorgensen. First of all, North Sea as a hub for green powerhouse for the Europe, we know for the Esbjerg Declaration. How much that could help in your plans regarding targets that you have and energy efficiency plans? And the second one is how much energy efficiency is represented within your national resilience program, you know, perhaps in some concrete figures. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can take one more question. There's a gentleman there.
Thank you. I'm Roberto Rojas from Refri Noticias magazine from Mexico. My answer is for Mr. Fausing. According to your experience, refrigeration and air conditioning and heating are essential for health and comfort. In the future of energy efficiency, what role will these industries play for humanity?
Thank you. Minister Jorgensen.
Yes, well, thank you so much for those questions. Now, the gas that we use in Denmark, 25% of that is biogas, so that's produced in Denmark. 75% is something that we import from the European market. We don't have a pipeline going to Russia, so basically the decision from Russia to close the deliverance to Denmark it doesn't have an immediate effect on us because we don't have energy security problems right now. We still buy our gas on the European market. Next year we will reopen one of the bigger exploration and extraction fields in the North Sea. That's closed now for repair, and this will mean that we will be a net exporter of natural gas. Now, as some of you might know, we've already decided to set an end date for the extraction of oil and gas in the North Sea in 2050, and we've cancelled all future licensing rounds on oil and gas. Those decisions will not be changed. However, the licenses that's already been given, we're looking at whether or not we can move some of the production closer to present day. So we will do it faster and will produce more in the years to come than we would have. On the North Sea as a power plant for Europe, the Esbjerg Declaration signed by our Prime Minister in Denmark, the heads of state in the Netherlands and Belgium and the German Chancellor just a few weeks back is of course a landmark and hopefully will be considered one in the future. We aim to produce 150 gigawatts of green electricity. That's enough to supply the demand of 230 million European households. That's half of what the entire European Union needs of offshore wind. So the potential there is big. And we are not just saying this and putting some words on a piece of paper. We are also in the process of working very closely together in making it happen. So, for instance, I've also signed a bilateral agreement with my colleague from Belgium in which we agree that Belgium will be a part of our so-called Energy Island project, which is a project in which we build an artificial island in the North Sea, 80 kilometers from shore. And instead of having one offshore wind farm that's then connected to the shore of one country, Denmark, we have the island that has hundreds and hundreds of wind turbines around it, equaling many offshore wind farms, that's then connected to the island. The island is then connected to different countries. So far, Belgium is a part of this project. The Netherlands will be a part of this project a little bit later on, and maybe, hopefully, even other countries also. And this is just the first of its kind. We hope to have several more. Now, having said all of that, that's the supply side. It's important, obviously, but we need to make sure that we then use the energy that we create wisely. Because even though we will have what seems like an abundance of clean energy, we also know that the demand will explode. We need to electrify our transportation systems. We need to transform some of this energy into hydrogen. That's also an extremely energy-consuming process. But it's necessary because it gives us the possibility of storage, and it gives us the possibility of introducing it into aviation and maritime transport. So every little bit of energy that we can save will make this process more feasible and make it cheaper.
Thank you, Minister Jorgensen. Mr. Fausing?
Yeah, I have to admit I've heard the first part of the questions on refrigeration and air conditioning and what role it plays for, and then I couldn't hear the rest, so I need to hear the last part again.
Would you be able to repeat your question a bit more loudly, please?
Refrigeration, air conditioning, and heating are essential for health and comfort. In the future of energy efficiency, what role will these industries play for humanity?
Yeah, so a great question, and thank you. So it's very clear that it plays an enormous role, because of course that we want to decarbonize should not sacrifice a modern way of living, and therefore I think Dr. Birol he shared already the example of an air conditioning system today standard in India versus in Japan, where you have a factor 3 of how much energy you actually consume. So how refrigeration and air conditioning works has an enormous role in creating comfort, but also in reducing CO2 footprint in the same time. And if you look at that in a city, 40% of the energy you consume goes to how you cool and heat your infrastructure. So that's one area where it's extremely important. The other one is food. And it's clear with how the population grows globally, it's extremely important how you actually refrigerate the whole cold chain. And you know, we have many countries worldwide that loses maybe 40% of the food you produces on the field until it hits the kitchen because of lack of cold chains. So I think the big challenge is that need to be built. In the same time, we need to make sure our technology is available at an attractive cost so that we can do it in a very energy efficient way, right? So I think simple answer is will play a very important role in combining comfort, food safety, and energy efficiency and decarbonization.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fausing. I think this concludes the time that we have for our press conference today. Thank you, Minister Jorgensen, Dr. Birol, and Mr. Fausing.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear reporters, for joining us today.